Hey everybody, Boris Lasberg. Welcome to our BK Forex Weekly Technicals for 08/18/23 of 2014. Where are the trades? Well, the story I think is interesting in the Eurodollar in the sense that we're not making any forward progress to the downside. Even though all the news is negative, technically the euro has totally stalled at this 33.50 level and has made no further downward progress. So there is a strong potential here for a short-covering rally over the next week and a half on whatever premise that we may have behind it. Yes, we have a lot of geopolitical risk, but clearly the euro is just simply not responding to it the way you would think it would. The fact that we haven't broken the 33.30 level for close to 6 or 7 days suggests that the base here is basing, and that we're probably going to go back up to at least 34.50, possibly even 3500, at which point is going to become another interesting potential sell. Overall, euro still remains very much a sell or rally mode, and every bounce here is going to be a selling opportunity. But for now, we seem to have stalled, and we seem to have found a little bit of a bottom. Dollar yen, unfortunately, had a very, very big reversal today because of all this risk aversion news, and we flamed out above the 102.50 level. On a fundamental basis, it was really looking very strong until, of course, we had all this risk aversion flows. It'll be interesting to see how we trade out for next week. This whole 102.75 level now becomes very key. This whole 75, 103 is the very, very choppy level. The key thing, I think, from a bullish perspective on dollar yen is that we continue to be holding higher lows, and as long as we're holding higher lows, the general tone of the trade is to the upside. It means every dip is a buy, and that every move higher could be a potential breakout to the upside. So even though dollar yen did a reversal today, the lows held, and I think for now you still have to give the benefit of the doubt to the bulls for the time being. Now, pound is kind of interesting also because obviously we've had this very, very strong move to the downside, but this 66.65 is actually a 200-period SMA support, and so far we're kind of holding support, although the bounces have been very, very timid. And I think a break here through the 66.65 really does open up the potential of a 65 test. So while pound looks like it's kind of consolidating, its consolidation is much weaker in many ways. And there is a potential here to test the downside further, especially if we get weaker CPI data next week at the early part of the new week that could potentially put us into that position. So although pound could be coming to the end of its downward rally for the time being, it really has potentially more downside to go. Aussie dollar, on the other hand, has definitely found quite a decent support here at 92.50. Now it's taken out 93s. So far, it's kind of hovering around this 93, 93.25, mainly because of the external news flow. But as long, again, here, as it holds the highs, there's a series of higher lows here on the dailies. The move still continues to be a slow but churning move to the upside. 93.50 is a natural resist level here for Aussie dollar. We'll see how that trades out. But there's still potential here for a move higher as the pair definitely has a little bit more juice to go. Dollar CAD had an interesting reversal today. So we had this big move, the very, very strong jobless numbers, and moved down and then retrace back up on the potential that, again, geopolitical news kind of moving dollar CAD to the upside. But overall, I think the fact that we made a top here, this 109.50 level, and the fact that we kind of have better fundamental news in the background, it still opens up the prospect of a retest of this 108.50 on a more normal conditional day. So for now, 109.50 is clearly the big resist here, and that's going to be the area I think it's going to attract a lot of sellers because that was the near-term top, which took the pair down. And given the new fundamental conditions, it certainly attracts more sellers at that point. But if the markets return to a more or less non-political climate on Monday, Tuesday, there's a potential here for a move towards the 108.50, and possibly a break here could take us all the way down to a test of the 108s. So CAD looks relatively good on a relative basis. And then lastly, Kiwi dollar definitely held that support that we talked about last week of the 84s. We held that, really, this 84.50, 84 kind of held for a good week and a half, and also now seems to be trading relatively well around the 85. 85 is still the very big resist level, but this 85, 85.50 is going to find a lot of churn. But again, the fact that we have higher lows, not really having tested 84s again, suggests consolidation, perhaps a move up as we go through the week next week. So overall, this really sort of suggests that the calm dollars have some natural strength going forward, which means that we should probably take a look at Euro Aussie as a potential look here. with relative weakness over here, this 43 level now in Euro Aussie becoming a key level to break to the downside, and possibly pound Aussie, because of course pound looks the weakest of all. Let me see if I can find pound Aussie. I think I'm gonna have to punch it up. And pound Aussie really has this very key level of 78.50. A break here, this really brings us down to yearly lows. Very sharp drops. Pound Aussie has this way of having several very large candle moves before it kind of consolidates. So there may be a little bit more juice to the downside here as you get further weakness in the pound, and the COM dollars remain relatively strong. The other thing that's kind of interesting is the yen crosses. So dollar yen, as I was saying, continues to trade relatively high to the upside. But if you look at Aussie yen, that's been a very decent support level here, 94.50, and a break above 95.50. That still appears to be on target towards 96, 96.50 as the lows pretty much hold as the week progresses. So that's kind of how the week shapes up. We have Jackson Hole next week, obviously, although not much expected to be news from there. Overall, if we have a relative calm on the political front, it looks like we could have a little bit more flow to the COM dollars, and dollar yen could potentially begin to pick up momentum towards the 103 level, which will help the yen crosses. So that's how the week shapes up. Wishing you guys the best of luck, the best of trading. Boris Schlossberg over and out.